Hiya, it's Marcus from Dad and Lads Gaming, and this is our games room tour for 2023. I always try and keep our videos short and relatively to the point, but one thing I won't apologise for this time is Games Room Tour. I absolutely love them, my favourite videos, so if this one goes on a bit longer, like I say, I won't apologise for that. I love finding out all the detail of everyone's rooms, the setups, that kind of thing. So what I've thought about and what I'll do with this video is, there's obviously our two rooms up here. I'll go into one room at a time, show and peel what we've got, how we've got things set up. Then towards the end of the video, I'll go downstairs and show you my modern setup and where I relax, listen to my music, that kind of thing. Some types of thing that I like to see in other people's setups. So like I say, once you've seen the gaming stuff upstairs and downstairs, you can switch off if you like, I don't care. Like I said, my favourite type of videos, so keep watching and I'd love to hear what you think about it. Right, let the nosiness commence. Let's go up the stairs. The landing area between the two games rooms. All my retro game magazines, some cool books. Tommy's favourite in particular there. The Art of Point Click Adventure Games, yes, he loves it. Various ones, lots of magazines. Some modded Game Boys from Craig at Goodwin's Place. Thank you very much, Craig, they're excellent. I won't go through what all these, you know what all these are. You're all into your games, you know the crack. Only one of note is the GP2X. I've had that a long time before you could play games on mobile phones really. And that used to be a really good way to play MAME, arcade games on the move, that kind of thing. And a really nice thing I love here. This is a gift from my wife. She's a big fan of Dave White, the artist. And Dave White was commissioned to do the covers for The Edge magazine's 25th anniversary. So I bought two of those box set magazine things really, one to keep and one which I won't apologise for. I took the covers off because it looks absolutely stunning in this picture frame. So my wife did a cracking job with that. Can you name all the characters? Of course you can. Right, let's go and have a look in room number one. Starting on this side of the room then, we've got the Vectrex in the corner. Below the Vectrex is a Helgen helmet from Killzone 3, I think, on the PS3, and my subwoofer. Vectrex has a multi-cart in it, not on the expensive nice ones, but it's all good, it has all the arcade games on it. Here we have a lovely big telly. It's a 27-inch 4.3 aspect ratio. It's a Sony Trinitron, which is amazing for the light gun games, which I've got one of the many PS2 set at the bottom there, along with my Atari 2600, my brother's childhood Atari 2600, set up in RF. Two drawers. I'll show you close up the drawers. Top one has Lots and lots of remote controls. You'll see what I mean. When you've got this many devices and TVs, you're always going to have lots of remotes. And the one underneath it, does every YouTuber have this? It's basically a drawer full of wires, but mine are all bagged up separately, so I know exactly what they are. I know exactly when I need them, so that's good. Relatively neat. On this part here, a couple of, I don't have many gaming statues or figures and things. The ones I really have is ones I've inherited from Tommy, or he's had when he was a child. So I've kept them. I've never been one for buying figures, but I do have the odd thing later out. This little Iron Man was a gift from my friend at work. A karate trophy from about 13 years ago. And Daredevil, one of Tommy's toys, and the Wii U controller. Here, 42-inch 1080p TV, which is also 3D TV, with an Xbox One Connect just below it there, and all of Tommy's amiibos he collected. Now the room's obviously set up for multiplayer fun. So this TV here is one of the 4 TVs that I've got, an Xbox 360, and now in this one I think I've got an Xbox One X as well. So it just makes it quite flexible when friends come round. So obviously you might not be able to see from there, but yeah, on the bottom an Xbox One X, above it an Xbox 360, one of the more newer 360, which is slightly more reliable. Here we have the main wall. Obviously dominating the wall is a 75-inch Hisense 4K TV. Got a 42-inch plasma there, which is a 1080p, which is a lovely picture on the plasma, and a 46-inch LCD. The plasma and the LCD, again, mainly used for multiplayer when friends come round, because in that cabinet there on the end is another Xbox One and an Xbox 360. Ditto for this one here. In the end of this cabinet here is an Xbox One X and an Xbox 360. Now I will get behind the camera and talk about this setup in particular a bit more detail, but just the main things are, obviously I've got the analog pocket there, I'm going along on the dock, play on the big screen, which is lovely, and the Nintendo Switch. Along with in the middle there is the sensor for the Wii U, camera for the PS3, which is crucial for playing some of the shooting games, light gun style games, with the one controls, that kind of thing. And obviously a nice Yamaha center speaker, because in this room it's set up for 5.1 through Kenwood amp I've got in there, which is not Kenwood, Yamaha amp I should say, which I've got in there, which in this room, the way I've got it set up, sounds absolutely unreal when you're playing stuff in 5.1, really good sound in here. So what I'll do now is I'll jump behind the camera and I'll show more specifics about the setup. Here we are, this is the main, obviously 75-inch TV, the Hisense TV. So current display in the Xbox One X at the moment. So first of all, I've got things spread across all 3 cabinets to display on this TV. So ultimately, let's have a look first. So in this left-hand side cabinet, I've got the Wii U there and the PS4 Pro. Let's close at the moment. Middle cabinet, we have the Xbox One X, the Scorpio edition, Xbox 360 with a HD DVD player, the Star Wars model. Then we're a slim PS3, and obviously there's the Yamaha amp at the moment. We'll leave that one open. Then obviously in this other side, you might not be able to see it very well, I've got a PS TV in the top there, which is totally dwarfed on that shelf, and then an original Xbox Crystal. So let's close that one. So at the moment now, obviously everything feeds through this main amp, because this is the main TV I use. So if we go on here, look, as you can see on the Xbox One X PS4 Pro, if I swap the input, there you go, analog pocket now comes on. It will do, I promise. I've just checked it. So analog pocket, there's a pocket. Obviously the next one, I have splitters behind, there just isn't enough HDMI connections in the back of this amp, even though there's a lot, so I have to split things up. Next one is RetroSync 5X, which I'm not obviously displaying yet. That'll be shown in a minute when I'm talking about the retro side of the room. Then we have PS3, PSTV, it's currently displaying Switch. It takes a few seconds to switch over. What is our super epic ready to play there? Bit of a Metroidvania style game. And then finally, we've got the Wii U on that one, which is Wind Waker, I believe. So that's the setup. And what you can't see there is in the back of the amp, I've actually used a HDMI splitter. So there's actually a flying HDMI spare cable in the back of there just around the back of the switch. So when I want to, I can just pull the HDMI cable out, plug it straight into the laptop in order to record stuff with the Elgato, which it takes about a minute to set up. It's really easy. So that's like sort of the main gaming setup this side. And these two TVs, like I said, are mainly used alongside that one for multiplayer game when people come round. So there you go. Now this is what I call the retro side of the room. Starting off at the top here is a 14-inch Sony PVM, rotated on the side to play Tate Schmutz, that kind of thing. I've got a nice little salamander picture on the side there. I just thought I'd make the side of the monitor look a bit more pleasing in the eye when you sat in the chair there. Now this is an old server cabinet. Even though I like having all my wires tucked away hidden, there's something about cables being in the back of a unit which I like the look of, so therefore I haven't made any effort to sort of hide away those cables. I think it looks good. And the top there is an Extron Crosspoint which has 12 inputs and 8 outputs. I use all of them, which again, when I get behind the camera in a little while, I'll try and show that in more detail. Now in this cabinet, we have in the top RetroTink 5X, Wii U, which has been sock modded, GameCube with the Game Boy player underneath it. Now I can obviously play stuff on Swiss with that GameCube as well, which is really useful. In the bottom there is a PS2, which has got a 1TB hard drive in it, and it's obviously got the ability to play stuff from the hard drive. Very useful. So on here, 36-inch Toshiba CRT. It's an absolute beast, but I cannot believe people have remarked before, and I'm the same, it fits in that alcove like a glove. There's literally about a millimetre, like it's as if it was designed to go in there. Now, it's not for everybody. Anyone, any kind of CRT aficionado. It's 100 Hz, which some people don't like the look of it. I think, because it's in the UK, we didn't get a lot of CRTs with component. This one has components. It'll accept 480i, which I think some games in 480i looks quite nice on this. So I use it sparingly. I obviously use the better monitors most of the time. Under there, I've got an RGB modded Nintendo 64, a one-chip Super Nintendo. Middle shelf is the PC Engine Duo, which has been recapped, RGB modded by Retro Passion UK. Amazing place, did a sterling job. And finally underneath, original black Xbox with, I think it's about a 360 gig hard drive, and the Executor 3 mod. I've had that a long time. I think we actually got Tommy for that for Christmas when he was quite young, because he used to like playing all the arcade games on one of the emulators on it. That's quite good. Now at this side, the Sony BVM. Some really nice, now am I going to be able to pronounce this? Try Skelges. I don't know if that's the right make. It's a nice speakers set. Either side of that, some monitor speakers. Now underneath there we have modded Megadrive. It'll play any region with 8-bit door arcade stick adapter. Underneath that we've now got the PS1 with Executor installed. Am I cutting my head off there? I'll try and duck down a bit. There we go, that's better, isn't it? So the Executor is installed. Memcard Pro in there now as well, so I've got the ability to have about 1 million save files as if I'm ever going to use all that lot. And also now we've got the little dongle to use the fighter pad. I forget what they call it now anyway, but it's really good pad. Beside that is Japanese Sega Saturn, the white one, which has satiator fitted. I like the satiator ODE because it allows you to retain the use of the drive, which is really helpful. And finally underneath that is top loader Famicom, which again 8-bit door, little receiver so I can use the arcade stick with it, and that has also been RGB modded. I will apologise in advance because the camera's going to whip around quite a bit. So I've currently got PS2 displaying through the RetroTink 5X on the 75-inch TV. It's also displaying, I should say the PS2's in component. I should have said that earlier actually as well, to clarify a few of the connections. So in there, Wii U component, sorry, the Wii component, GameCube with the original Nintendo component cables, and the PS2 with HD Retrovision component cables. And the rest of these you've got, bottom there's Xbox with the the good quality Microsoft component connector. Then everything else is retro gaming cables, pack-a-punch, RGB cables for everything else. So anyway, let's zoom back out again so we can see what we're doing. Right, so like I said, so that's what we've got in there. We've got Gradius, I think it is, PS2 game. It's not a TRT game, I've just got it on the screen there at the moment just to demonstrate, obviously on there. And if you're watching now, what I can do is I can pick PS2, and I'll now output it to, it's already output into the TRT Sony, it's already output into the RetroTink. I'll now send it to the Toshiba in component and also the 20-inch BVM. So if I press enter now, there we go. So now that's displaying on all 4 screens. Now that's just a sync issue. What I like about this monitor is I send component RGB down the same wire, I just have to change the sync setting on it there. Just flick of a button there. And there we go. So now, if I zoom out, it's I understand what it all does, but it's probably a bit too technical for most people. So now we've got the PS2 displaying on all 4 screens at once. You ask why? Because I like this type of stuff. There's no other reason that, and I love often comparing what games look like on different things, because I'm a total geek. But anyway, let's have another fiddle about with this Extron Crosspoint. It's bloody amazing. Right, let's now have a look at. We'll put the GameCube on. Let me think. The RetroTink. So now that should come up on there. There you go. There's a GameCube now on the main screen through the RetroTink. Let's send the Wii to the Toshiba TV. There's the Wii on there. Let's put now the Xbox on that Toshiba. There you go, there's the Xbox with a matrix screensaver. That's cool, isn't it? Now we'll look at the RGB stuff. So let me think. I'll do all this on the BVM. It's just a bit easy for me. I mean, you can't see it now, but that picture on there is absolutely unreal. It looks amazing. It's like your 1000-line BVM. So let's change the sync to external for that one. Now it looks a bit odd, but it'll be right now for the RGB stuff. So let's have a look at this then. So now let's go through the RGB, like PlayStation to the BVM. There you go. Oh, we've got a bit of an issue there. Look, what's that? Is that the sync? What's happened there? Oh, there we go. External sync. There you go. That's the X station there. Now what have we got? We'll go from Megadrive to the BVM. Megadrive. Lovely. Now let's go for the Famicom. Yes. We're cooking with gas here, aren't we? Sega Saturn BVM. Yes, with the Satiator screen on. Yes. And what else have we got in here then? N64 again. There we go. And finally, last but not least, the PC Engine to that one. And it takes a bit of a flick of a switch on the RetroTink, but let's just send the PC Engine to the RetroTink through RGB. So there's the RGB setting for the RetroTink. Enter. Now obviously that's displaying component there still. So let me find my remote control, which I've hidden behind the sofa. Now then, so input, let's choose now SCAT RGB. And that should give it, there we go. Let's exit out of that. And there is the PC Engine's hue card screen. How cool is that? So as you can see, that's my main, this is what I play in here mainly. I love all my retro and I love playing on proper CRTs. The RetroTink's just nice because I like farting about with that type of stuff, and because I could set it up on there, I did, and it looks amazing. So that's just to sort of run past some of the rest of it. And obviously there's my surround sound speakers there. I decided that I've had that posted such a long time. It looks okay on camera, but I think it's quite faded. I'm thinking I'm possibly getting a replacement from the people that did my Gradius poster for the cupboard door. Because I think it looks absolutely lovely, that Gradius picture. And if people that are interested, nice comfy sofa, both those like lazy boy things where you can pull the handle to the side and recline right the way back. Quite comfortable, certainly good comfortable position when you're playing on that big screen or watching TV on there, or movies I should say. So there we go. The CRT multi-screen setup in all its glory. I always found this side of the wall to be quite bland looking, just a plain cupboard door. So picture looks okay, but then I got an arcade company that do side art, that kind of thing, to print me this Gradius picture, which I think looks absolutely glorious, and in real life it looks so sharp and bright, lovely. But don't look too closely though, because in my excitement when I get it all done, I'll put the door handle back on wonky, it annoys the life out of me, so don't look. But anyway, I'll open it up and show you what it looks like, shall we? There you go, look at that. So on the top, light guns, sort of middle section, arcade sticks. Then all the drawers is controllers for all the different systems I've got in here, and a couple of Guitar Hero guitars and such like down the sides. So I'll now switch to the camera and we'll have a closer look. I'll pan up and down first. It obviously goes up into the top there, so you can't really see it very good from outside, but there you go. A couple of pop vinyls with Tommies. Again, I don't buy those kind of things, but Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man, I think they are. That's how it all looks. So again, a couple of Guitar Hero stuff. Tommy's old Venom figure and his old Apocalypse. And some of the light gun type stuff, one of them for the PSVR 1 there. So what we've got, 360 arcade sticks, Manu 8-bit door arcade stick, and in the back of there is a PS1 arcade stick, Sega Saturn, Neo Geo AES. That's a really nice one, isn't it? I'm sure people have seen that one before. Shall I pull it out a bit? It's a Tatsunoko vs Capcom one for the Wii. Really like that one. And I think one of the best ones is this one. I just love, I can't even get hold of the flipping thing. The Dreamcast one, I just love the Dreamcast one. It's just a nice weight to it. It's a great arcade stick, that one. So we've got further up. This Mayflash one I got for Christmas, which I can use on multiple different systems. It's that big I can't put it in sideways, unlike the other ones. That's a real cool arcade stick, that one. Real quality one with arcade parts inside it. Obviously NES Advantage. A little 360 arcade stick behind, and underneath there is a GameCube one. And at the top you've got light guns for all different systems. I've tried to keep them system specific. So PS1, Wii, Dreamcast, Master System. Is it Master or Master? Who gives a shade? And then the GunCon 3 for the PS3, which is fantastic. There's two of those in there. I can play two-player on that one. Let's have a look at some of the drawers then, shall we? I'll just open them quickly. You'll know what they are as soon as I open them, but anyway, there you go. Sega stuff. N64. GameCube and some other Nintendo things. Sega and a bit of Atari. SNES and such like, and Famicom, Super Famicom, sorry. Dreamcast, what am I talking about? It's for the Xbox, full. Switch and some of the 3D at the back. Wii U, Wii, other things. Then the real quality stuff for the Amiga and ST in there. Lots and lots of Sony, PS1, PS2, PS3 and PS4 in there. Lots of 360. I've got the ability to set up 7 360s at the same time, and that's obviously Xbox One, so that's why I have lots of controllers for those two systems, because that's what how most of the multiplayer gaming is when people come around. So there you go, that's a little gaming cupboard. I tried to make it, used to be really dark in there, but my brother put some sockets in, and lights in, so it just looks much brighter and nicer and very clean looking, I think. It's the main sort of wall, or the main side to Games Room 2, covered very recently in a couple of vlogs. I've updated this side of the room, so start with a Mac, only used for editing, that kind of thing, just keeps things easy for me. 65-inch Hisense 4K TV. Now this is a 40-inch Samsung 4K TV, which I use in Tarte mode for shmups, that kind of thing. Drawers, I won't show you the drawers, but would you believe they're all incredibly tidy? I know where everything is in them. Of course you'd expect that. underneath the little the desktop, I've got 8TB storage for the Mac. Obviously now we've got a soundbar which I'm yet to connect up properly, but it's Tommy's old soundbar. I don't like wasting old kit, so whenever Tommy stops using things, I try and repurpose it somewhere. That's why I got this TV basically. It's Tommy's old TV. I want to repurpose it rather than going to waste somewhere. It's too good a TV to go to waste. I've got Tommy's old RGB mouse pad, which, you know what Tommy's like, he's scutty, so this needs a good clean. Not cleaner for my liking. It's got all Tommy's scut on it. RGB keyboard and mouse, wired. Need to change that desperately because I want to sit my lazy ass on that sofa whilst playing PC games and editing. That means if I've got wireless ones, they're wired, you see. If I've got wireless ones, I can sit on my backside over there and do it much better. Right, so under here we've got Xbox One X, which is a Scorpio model, and the new 4-in 4-out HDMI switcher again, which I've talked about in the recent vlogs. In these two units here, first one is simply to house my lovely gaming PC, again donated by Tommy. It's an absolute beast for what I use it for. Would you believe I use them for old point and click adventures? Yes, I do. And in this one here, we have a modded Xbox 360, PS4 Pro, which I've only got on there, the only few games, I've got lots of games on there, but most of them are Tarte games and purely PSVR games, because I've got the PSVR 1, I should say, because I've got the camera set up there. It's a nice space in here to play PSVR 1 games, so naturally in the middle shelf there is the PSVR unit itself and the switch box. When I get behind the camera, I'll show you in a bit more detail. Main setup again. So the Mac, 65-inch TV, 40-inch TV in Tarte mode. Let's have a look at everything in RGB glory. Tommy Scutty mouse mat, keyboard and mouse. Looks great. So there's the main screen being used as second screen for the Mac. So let's change that over now. So let's go up there and we'll put that onto PC. And obviously in order to do that, we'll put the other one on the PC. And we'll let that come on. So that's my GOG setup at the moment. And on that one is Streamlabs OBS, I think. And what's in there? Capture card is capturing Daytona USA from the Xbox One X at the moment. So now let's swap them back over. We'll go back onto HDMI matrix there. And same for the big TV, HDMI matrix. We'll see what funky stuff we can do there now from the armchair. So I need to find my remote control for the matrix. Right, there it is. So if I sit back here now then, what have we got so far? So we've got the big screen there we can put on Daytona already. So now this Tarte screen, let's swap that about, shall we? So let's put Ghostblade PS4, shall we? It will come on. Come on, there you go, Ghostblade. And obviously what I did have on there, I had on the other connection was Ikaruga on the modded Xbox 360. So finally on this big one, let's go for something better. Turrican, shall we? Through the OSSC. Turrican on the Amiga. Let's put that on the big screen. Oh, can you hear that tune? One of the best tunes ever made, that is. So there we go, so that's what it looks like. It's really flexible to do everything. Like you said, you should check my other two logs, how I've just finished all this. It's fantastic little setup there. Let's move on, shall we? On this side of room too, these are really expensive. I've had them, I think, about 20 years now from Can-Am cabinets in Canada. They weigh an absolute ton. And I got them initially to store CDs, that kind of thing. So I've now got, I'll show you what's inside them in a sec, but ultimately I had a spare top. So what I thought I'd do, I've got a PC monitor, obviously no sound. Then I've got my little mini systems and also the Capcom, hear that, arcade stick, which is really good. So what I did, I got a HDMI breakout switcher, so I could switch the sound also. And the one I use then is just an old Logitech 2.1 sound system with a little subwoofer hidden behind there. It sounds glorious actually. So on there, I'll show you more detail shortly. I've basically got my mini consoles. Moving on here, obviously the same size gap in this room as in room 1. So I've got exactly the same 36-inch Toshiba CRT, which I mainly used to watch old stuff. So underneath it I've got an Xbox 360. Again, just allows me, when people come round they play multiplayer, yeah, it's not a HD screen, but it's still pretty decent. When I can get, like you say, I've had 8 player up here before, and actually always set up is 7 Xbox 360s, so that is beauty when we actually come to do it. So like you say, 36-inch CRT, Xbox 360, mainly used as a DVD player. Underneath that is a Pioneer multi-region LaserDisc player, which I've always wanted one of them. years ago in Middlesbrough. It used to be one of the shops, the video CD shops, and the top row used to have the LaserDiscs. I was always like amazed by them. Finally got one a couple of years ago, and I've got a small selection of LaserDiscs. Underneath that is a VHS video player. Again, I just love watching old movies and things in it. It's really good. And then finally on this side, it was just a bit of a spare wall, really. So I've got a 14-inch PVM, and in the unit underneath is another Xbox 360 connected via components. You're playing 480i. Again, it looks really good on a small screen. You're just not going to see much in the way of the text on the screen is a bit of an issue, really. But the games have a unique look to them on the PVM, and also a Spectrum 48K Plus. So what I'll do is, again, I'll get behind the camera and try and show you just in a little more detail how it all works. The kit on this one, and so I don't know how big this monitor is, widescreen monitor. So there's the Capcom arcade stick. Everyone's seen this before, I'm sure. Really, really good on the screen, really good. Let me just crank this this sound up, see if you can hear it. I don't know if it'll come across good on the camera. So I think it sounds really good and meaty with it. There's like I say, there's a subwoofer just behind there. Turn the sound back down. So there, it sounds off there now. So like I say, I just have this little switcher. So let's go on switch number 1. That's obviously the SNES Mini. Switch number 2 is the NES Mini. And switch number 3 should be the PS Classic. Is it going to come on? Is it playing silly buggers? I've turned it on now. That would help, wouldn't it? If I turned it on. There you go. So I can swap between all them with my little trusty remote control there. It just said I like it because I'll show you quickly what's in these drawers. People sometimes interested. Top of there, they're all the basically multiplayer games for Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So they're like multiple copies of all things that we play when friends come round. So like I said, because this is for storage, I just utilise the space on top for this little area, which I think's pretty good. In there we've got Amiga ST games. Do have the boxes for most of them in the loft. They take up a lot of space. I just put them in the little disc controllers, disc boxes I mean. Spectrum collection, and a few point and click adventures which I haven't got space on the shelf for at the moment. Then we've got some big box collectible stuff. That's like the D&D collectible box set PS4, and Geordie Slasher give us that one for Bioshock. He's a knob though because it didn't have the vinyl in it. These are some things we're missing boxes for. I never lose boxes. In some time from childhood and now, I've lost the box of Maniac Mansion on the ST, Manhunter on the ST, and also Gold Rush on the ST. All point and click adventures. Gutted about that. I don't know where on earth they've gone. Next one down, we've got spare Dreamcast and PS1 with the drives obviously intact. I'm moving across to ODEs for everything now. All really, really old camera equipment. And that's Tommy's gaming PC, which I quickly whip out and use for recording footage in the other room when required. And finally, in the bottom is just all my spares that I obviously give away to people as and when. Spares. So let's move across. So there's the CRT at the moment. That's Leon on LaserDisc. Where's my remote control? So I can swap between the inputs. So let's have a look what else we've got on there. We've got Michael Schenker in concert on the VHS. And we should have, oh, it's gone to sleep. That's a perfect time, isn't it? Let's switch it off and back on again, because that's basically the Xbox 360. I've taken that long to set up that it's obviously gone to sleep. Let's put it back on again. Is it going to go back on? While it's thinking about it, then that's a little PVM. It's displaying the Spectrum at the moment. So if I look in here, look, it's a Spectrum Plus. It's got the little MMC thing in the back, so I can load games straight from that rather than the tape. I've got a couple of tapes in the loft, but they're just getting so unreliable nowadays. And I love having the original tapes, and nothing beats loading the Spectrum up on that sound, but I want to play the games ultimately, so that's my solution at the moment. At least it works. There you go, there's the 360. I think it looks nice on that 36-inch CRT. It's a nice picture on there. But I'll do this for the... Some people might not have seen it before, but I'll eject the LaserDisc. Some people sometimes haven't seen that. I just think it looks so cool. Come on, he's thinking about it. How good is that? I just love that. I absolutely love this LaserDisc player. It's awesome. So anyway, so just pan out again, look. That's that size setup. Let's move on to the next section, shall we? The final wall in room 2, which is the retro stuff, which I love this side of things. It's amazing. So let's start off on this side. It's a new addition. Yeah, I've got an old PC, which I now use on the VGA monitor, and oh my word, some of those games, older PC games, on that VGA just absolutely pops. It's a cracking VGA monitor, a CRT VGA monitor, it's really good. Only I'm having slight issues at the moment. I need some more DDR RAM for it. DDR2, cheapest chips. When I get it, I'll whack in it, it'll just run a little bit nicer. Then I can play all the games on it through DOSBox and other stuff anyway. And obviously my GOG account works fine on it. So, this absolute monstrosity. It's a 32-inch Sony Trinitron. Now, I know it looks daft, but I can play games in Tarte mode on it, predominantly arcade stuff with the RGB Pi. It's in 240p and it looks absolutely amazing on that. So although that looks horrific, I don't care. It just looks amazing on the screen, and the sound on this flipping Sony Trinitron is unreal. The speakers on the TV, it really look good, loud sound. So underneath, it's another sort of server cabinet, which really is useful for this. Let me bend down. You won't be able to see. I will show you more detail. But ultimately, now I've got another Extron Crosspoint. I've got an Extron VGA switcher. I've got two RGB Pis. One of them is just purely for Tarte, and one is just the other normal arcade orientation Yoko games, which I can play on the PVMs. Then I've got a Dreamcast in there and an Xbox 360. So I'll go into more detail why they're in there when I get behind the camera, just so you have a rough idea what's in there anyway. Then here we've got the OSSC. We've got two 20-inch PVMs, both Sonys, both slightly different pictures actually. One's about a 5-year-old newer PVM, the other one, and I think one of them has a colder picture, which I actually like. It looks more clinical, so I like the comparison between the two. And obviously this is Iami, I don't know what it is, Iami Vision Master. It does some wonderful outputs on there, so I really like that. I've got a studio speaker for each PVM, and I use these tangent speakers for the VGA stuff, which I then use the stereo. I've got a TIAC stereo there. Sorry, not TIAC, it's Onkyo. I use to listen to stuff upstairs and also output for the VGA stuff. Right, so Neo Geo AES, Master System, Atari ST, our childhood one, Super Famicom. I've got the Onkyo CD player, as I said, with a Wii above it. Amiga 600, modded PS2, which will do all multi-region, and finally underneath that is my original day one release of the Panasonic 3DO, the FZ1 model. So, like I say, it's a great setup, and I can play it on all these monitors and also output from the OSSC to the big TV if I want to, and record footage, which is quite key. So now I'll jump behind the camera and we'll have a look in more detail, shall we? We'll go into more detail now. So obviously that's the 1941 RGB Pi. I think it looks absolutely glorious on that screen. Really good picture on it. Got Double Dragon through the other RGB Pi arcade game. That's the Dreamcast on the VGA monitor, and the Amiga on that other PVM. So let's go into more detail, shall we? Let's have a look in the cupboard. Like I said, Xbox 360 there, Dreamcast with a mode inside it, and I've also got the Toro box behind it, so that it means that at the flick of a switch I can switch it from VGA 480p for that monitor to 240p, which I then feed into the SCART socket there, and I can play the Tarte shmups in 240p mode on that monitor. It looks excellent. So above there, Extron VGA switcher and the Extron Crosspoint for the RGB stuff. So Neo Geo AES with a Neo SD. I've got the Master System with a Master Everdrive X7. Our childhood Atari ST, it's a 520 SCFM. This drive's broken on it, so I've got one of those little things in the side. We can play the games from USB, I forget the name of it now. But ultimately, I've got a spare drive, so when I want to play disc games, I can just plug in the spare drive. And I've also got a, can people remember multi-faces? I've got a multi-face ST, so it can boot from the second drive. We obviously bought that when we were kids, and we used it a lot when we were kids. Right, there's the Super Famicom with a 8-bit door arcade receiver, sorry, the controller receiver with the FX Pack Pro in it. Amiga 600, which has been seriously pimped out by Retro Passion UK again, did a tremendous job. It's got everything in that you can think of. Got the CF card, hundreds and hundreds of games on it, demos, the lot, really good. Now we've got a Nintendo Wii. Now we've got in the other room, why in here? Well, I've got a, I think it might be a May flash cable, which means I can output in VGA, and the Wii in 480p on that monitor looks absolutely beautiful. So I like playing it in there on that way. We've got the PS2, which is obviously modded, multi-region, and finally our 3DO. So what we'll do now is I'll show you how the Crosspoint works in this room a little bit, so you get an idea of why I've gone through all this carry on. So the VGA stuff, I've got the Dreamcast, the Xbox 360, and the PC now on it. So I'll switch the Xbox 360 on. So input 1. And there you go now, Afterburner Climax running. And the Xbox 360, that monitor is absolutely stunning. I've got it for about 10 quid. Oh, absolutely find of the century for me. Absolutely beaut monitor that is. Really good. So what else can we do now? So let's have a look. Neo Geo, where is it? AES, we'll put it on the left hand side, PVM. There you go, that's on there now. We'll put the Amiga on the left hand side, PVM. Where have we got that? I can't see through my phone there. Amiga on the left hand side. Press enter, and that swaps that over. So what else can we do now? PS2, let's have a look at that. It'll probably just have the boot screen on, but PS2, left hand side. Yeah, it's got the boot screen. And now let's put the AES on the other monitor. AES, left hand side, PVM. There you go, that swaps it across. So now, because the 3DO is still only S-video, I just have it direct into the back of this. So let's have a look to see if I can get the actual 3DO on here. It's one of these inputs, I think. That one, no sync. Oh, there we go. Bit of Super Street Fighter on the 3DO. Love it. Let's turn the volume down. I just use the PVM speaker for that one. There we go. So that's the setup on this side. I absolutely love it. It just offers so much. And last time lads came round, they were playing on the arcade screen there, on the RGB Pi. Oh, it's just absolutely beautiful, it is. So what we'll do now is, we'll start have a look at the game wall. And here is the wall of games. Now, a lot of you might be surprised when I say this, and you think I'm a lunatic, but I don't generally think we've got a lot of anything. I mean, you can see, I'm not going to start going through all the games, because I normally fall asleep when people do it on game room tours. I like seeing stuff they've got and how it's set up, and that's why I focus more on that. But we've got most of the systems set up, the games they're ready to go to play straight away. I'm always keen to do that, because I think when they're boxed away, you don't go on it. Now, I know people don't have the space. I do have the space, so I have the game set ready to go, ready to play. So, I mean, when you look at most of the systems, there are what I consider a decent amount, because we always collect for the system when it's actually out. So, for example, the Wii, we bought all those when it's out. Since they've stopped releasing, since they've moved on to the generation, I tend to move to the new generation, because I wouldn't say I'm a retro gamer, I'm just a gamer. I like the newest games and I like old games, so naturally we've got a very small PS5 collection there. It'll get bigger as we buy more games for it, and naturally Xbox One and predominantly Xbox 360 is bigger, because as I got older, Tommy started getting into games, my other son got into games, and all my brothers did, and so I had more income coming in, bought more games, so the 360 collection in particular is pretty good. But if anybody wanted to see any of the games we've got, I could always show them, but I've got what I can always consider pretty decent games for all systems. If there's any junk in there, generally speaking, it's because it's been a gift, or I've got it given from one of my brothers or something. They had, for example, the 360, loads of FIFA games in there. I don't want to play FIFA on the 360, but my older brother played it every year, so there's a lot of the FIFAs in there. He gave them to me. I'm not going to get rid of them because it was a gift from my brother. And there's also lots of other things. My other brother gave me all of the Super Nintendo collection, so there's some really good games in there. So like I say, we don't have a lot of anything, but we have good games on every system, I think. So there you go, our wall of games. Let's move downstairs. Same applies in here as what it did while I listened to my music. I've found having all the movies out, I'm more inclined to watch them rather than procrastinate and think, sure, I'll go and get one out of the box, out of the loft basically. So I like that. That's my little MCU shelf there. All the MCU movies from, which is started off in DVD with Iron Man all the way through the 4K Blu-ray is what we've got now. Then the rest of the top shelf there is 4K Blu-ray. Next shelf there is Blu-ray, and then the bottom two shelves DVD, and then the bottom corner HD DVD. Some nice little collectible bits on the top. Just something a bit smarter and a bit bigger that don't fit on the shelf, to be honest. The main place I play my modern stuff and also watch movies. So in here, I'll get behind the camera again, show you in a bit more detail. Well, that's my LG C1 TV 77-inch. You can probably see parts of it. I've got two floor standing Q acoustic speakers, Q acoustic sub, Q acoustics, centre speaker. Then I've got 4 surround speakers, so it is a 7.1 system. But anyway, let's get into a bit more detail, shall we? Let's look a bit closer at the setup then. So this is a unit I've had for quite a few years. I like the look of it, and it hides everything away quite nicely. Obviously all the cables in the wall everywhere, which I like to do. So first of all, top drawer, Xbox One stuff. Second drawer, guess what it is? Of course, it's PS5 stuff. Bottom drawer, just the remotes. Right, left hand side then. The ugliest console ever designed, the PS5. I'm glad that's in the cupboard out the way. And that's my Denon amp, which obviously, like I say, does Dolby Atmos, does everything, does 120Hz, the lot. I should have pointed out the TV does 120Hz. So let's slide this across the other side. On the top, Xbox Series X. And there I've got the Sky Q box and also a TIAC, quite flexible really. I used to use upstairs in the games room because it's a CD player, DVD player, everything, but I use it predominantly because it's a Region 1 DVD player and obviously the PS VR2 headset. So everything, I just have it on the main HDMI channel. And what I like about this this TV, when you've actually got a game on, if I get the remote out, if you press the settings button, it's got like a proper game settings, game optimizer menu comes up, which I think is quite useful. It tells you how many, what your FPS is, all that kind of thing. It's quite good that. Turn that off. Right, so let's have a look at what else we have then. How I use the amp basically. So in there, obviously it's an Xbox at the moment, just flick it across. PS5. There we go. Ooh, Resi Evil 4. Tommy's been playing that. Next one is the multi-region DVD screen. There it goes. It's on the screensaver at the moment. And finally, Sky TV.
Also, I think just lifted.
Bit Sky Sports HD. There you go. Let's turn that off.
Yeah, this is...
So the other final thing really of note, obviously I got the pictures, which I think just spruces the walls up a little bit. There's the surround sound speakers. That's the prime time position where I sit. I like that reclined sat back position. So there, this room is always extremely bright. So another little thing I got added just when I want to watch movies during the day. Again, covered this in the previous vlog. I've got like a blackout blind. So during the daytime, all I have to do is pull the blind down. And it really, really does make a hell of a difference in here. I wouldn't say it makes it pitch black, but it's near as damn it. So that's the blind now down over the window. It really does help. And that is my movie room and modern gaming room. It's absolutely the best thing about it here for me. Obviously the screen's good because it's 120Hz and everything, but it's a sound system. It sounds absolutely tremendous in here. You can shake the walls. We've got a detached house. My wife never complains, and I just listen to watch movies as loud as I want. It's absolutely brilliant. The music collection. Top row shelves, heavy metal and soundtracks, which I'm quite into at the moment. Then we've got like vinyl, which I've had gifts off people, older stuff through the 60s and 70s, all sorts of things I got from my dad. Really cool actually. Then I've got my soundtracks, some bigger, cooler soundtracks, such as the Persona 5 one we got not too long ago. The bigger sort of box set ones. I've got 2 lowly heavy metal vinyls. I did promise myself I wasn't going to get heavy metal vinyl, but there was just 2 albums I wanted that didn't get released on CD, so I had to. Then the bottom shelves are crappy stuff that my wife listens to. And also lots of stuff I used to buy like in the 90s, dance music, that kind of thing. So quite a varied mix really. On the top there, some of the nicer collectible bits. And in the centre there is my great grandfather's retirement clock from Smith's Dock. Very cool. So I like to plonk myself down there. That's my little seat there. Put my beer on there, and then I'll just sit. And that's what I love about having the collection all on display, like I mentioned in the games room. When it's out, I use it and I listen to it regularly. So I'll walk in here, sit my bum down there, and put some music on. So I've got 2 Tannoy floor standing speakers there. That is a Denon turntable, and these are quite new actually. I got them just last year. Marantz sub and Marantz CD player. I'm a bit old school really. I like my physical stuff and a couple of our family's karate license certificates for Dan grades we passed. So like I say, this is the position I take up. Sit here in between the two speakers and blast the place down. I absolutely love it. There you go. That's me finished nerding out about all our setup. Something I take a lot of pleasure and pride over doing. I love setting things up nice and neat, as you've probably seen throughout the video. There's obviously loads of cables, as you can imagine, the type of kit we've got set up, hidden behind things, but that's the key. I try and hide them away as best I can, so it looks more pleasing to the eye. And ultimately, everything's set up so at the flick of a couple of switches, I can play retro, I can play modern, I can record gameplay, everything's set up for easy use, and mainly so friends can come round and enjoy playing other stuff as well, which is key to me, having friends around. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.